Hello and welcome to MediaWhorz. I'm Caveman and it's my turn to throw one of my least favorite directors into the ring that is the Uwe Bowl. Now, we would be remiss to not pay tribute to the namesake of this very contest, Uwe Bowl. Fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, I've decided to nominate his 2003 film, House of the Dead. So let's watch as brainless, lifeless piles of flesh try to act as I throw this to the round table.
This movie is bullshit.
Bullshit.
I guess a brief synopsis is in order. A group of assholes catch a ride with the most awesome character ever, Captain Kirk, as well as his first mate, the Gordon Fisherman, played by Clint Howard, who proves that appearing in The Cat in the Hat can actually qualify as a step up in his career. They head to a deserted island where a rave is supposed to be occurring. However, much to their dull surprise, the ravers are all zombies, references to the video game, whatever.
Wow. You stopped caring mid-synopsis. And, I'm sorry, most awesome character ever? The only reason Captain Tiberius Crunch here was even mildly interesting was because he was moderately more interesting than the assholes he was shipping.
I loved him because he was an asshole to the other assholes, which made him likable.
The asshole of my asshole is my friend.
You could write the first X-rated book of Proverbs.
The Book of Hand Job?
I hate you all.
You know, I think Blood Rain made me angrier than this movie did. It seems that Blood Rain was more memorably bad.
I'll agree with you that in a sense I hated Blood Rain more, but for me it's because Blood Rain kept finding new ways to disappoint me. House of the Dead, on the other hand, starts off at rock bottom and just stays there. There was never any potential to waste.
Plus, Blood Rain had double the budget.
Yeah, this film had a budget of 12 mil or so. I've heard varying estimates.
Are you shitting me? This is the most expensive grade school play ever filmed.
Seriously, I've seen infomercials with better production values and more engaging actors. You could take the cast of Blood Rain, give them all concussions, and then film them with a camera phone and end up with a better movie.
You had me at giving the cast concussions.
I understand where you guys are coming from, but I can't view this film in any form of positive light.
I don't disagree, it's just that we're putting the fact that there was never any hope to begin with into the plus column. It may as well have had "abandon all hope" as a tagline. Then again, that almost seems implied by the real taglines. You won't last the night.
Hell, you won't last the film.
Also, the dead walk, you run.
Right out of the theater.
Based on the video game.
Christ, that's the most foreboding of them all! Still, in the end, the only reason this isn't the most boring, nonsensical piece of crap that I've ever seen is because Bowl went on to release an official parody version of this film. That is possibly even worse.
Well, I uphold that is in no small part due to the hope that Bowl might actually be willing to take the piss out of himself rather than just piss on his audience. Hope is the problem.
Let me tell you something, my friend. Hope is a dangerous thing. Hope can drive a man insane.
You may have a point, but on that note, this is the kind of film that a person should be put in prison for. You know what? Let's try and somehow focus on what little plot this movie has.
Really? That's the thing. This movie is based on a light gun arcade game which, while enjoyable, had all the plot of a fortune cookie. Yet, somehow, this movie has even less of a narrative.
What about the characters? Do we want to talk about them?
No! We do not want to talk about them! I will kill myself before wasting another nanosecond on those motherfuckers! And don't think I'll go quietly or alone! I will bring this entire fuckball of a planet with me, if only to ensure that another Uwe Bowl never sees the light of day!
I am talking scorched earth, motherfucker! I will massacre you!
I am getting dizzy.
What just happened?
I think he just passed out from the rage.
Huh. So, characters?
The only one that I really remember is that dumbass named Liberty who wrapped herself in a skin-tight American flag.
Oh dear God, I was rather hoping that someone would get the uncharacteristically bright idea to dye her white which sounds shockingly racist, and wave her around in an attempt to surrender.
I'd pay to see that.
What are you guys talking about?
Nothing. We were just talking about the, mad scientist guy from the video game.
Wasn't he, like, the protagonist from the stupid-ass motherfucking piece of...
Oh, that's a good point.
Huh. I completely forgot that the hero of this movie... Wait, I take that back. The dumbass that somehow rubs two neurons together hard enough to survive to the end ends up creating a legion of undead horrors that get unleashed upon the protagonist of the video game.
Well, if that doesn't endear the bastard to the viewer, what will? Yeah, Caveman may have had a point. The only guy who was remotely likable was Mr. Long John Silver.
Yeah, maybe. I feel I've seen him somewhere. What else was he in?
Zentral, alles dicht. Vorschiff klar?
I mean, Flag Girl was bad enough, but U-boat captain?
Are you fucking kidding me? He was in the masterpiece that was Das Boot. Uwe Bowl, I will shove Das Boot up your fucking ass!
What's going on?
Oh, nothing. Jimmy tranked you is all.
What? No, I didn't. Motherfucker.
Do you know what just occurred to me? If you assume that all the zombies are just natives with really bad cases of mange, this actually becomes a halfway loyal Far Cry adaptation. Or at least more so than the actual Far Cry movie, ironically.
The cinematography for this film was atrocious. I'd even go so far as to say that it was clearly worse than Blood Rain, which is impressive in a really sad way.
You know, it's surprising, but the cinematography might actually be the worst part of this film.
No, I mean, it's bad, but it's hardly the worst part of the film.
Really? What would you consider the worst part?
The film actually uses clips from the video game, made back in 1996, as transitions.
Well, transitions, being visual effects, are something that I would generally consider to be categorized as part of the cinematography, even if they are implemented during post-filming editing, but I can also understand considering it to be separate. Still, I do agree that those scenes could not have been more incongruous if the cinematographer had personally come out and sandblasted our eyes.
Yeah, the editing was atrocious. The film just seems to jump around almost at random, with absolutely no care for maintaining a sense of coherency. It ends up being a ridiculously jarring form of jump cut that offers no conceivable benefit.
Well, now, that depends. Do we consider the fact that the movie has all the narrative flow of a tub of lard to be a benefit?
No.
Oh, well then yeah, fuck it has no upside.
Plus, whenever a character dies, we do get an odd 360-degree shot of the individual as the screen goes red.
Oh, those were annoying as fuck. Just when you think the action scenes couldn't get any less cohesive, they throw those piles of steaming celluloid at us. And what about our villain? He's apparently some undead ex-priest who consists of a bunch of ill-fitting parts that are clumsily stitched together.
Looks like we found a metaphor for the film. What really annoyed me was the fight choreography. We end up with those weird battles where everyone's flying through the air like they're part of Cirque des Zombies.
Honestly, I can't really put into words how horrible the choreography is in this film.
They couldn't even get the gun effects to look passable.
And all those guns are filled with plot bullets. They only run out when the plot demands it.
It's so odd trying to talk about this movie. The plot is so sparse that there really isn't anything to structure a discussion of it. You just end up jumping around randomly since the film itself is already completely devoid of any sense of focus.
What's more, the problem is further compounded by the fact that all the characters are completely unlikable, and thus completely unengaging.
And the interesting thing is, that was a complaint I had about Resident Evil, and yet this makes Resident Evil look like the goddamn Shawshank Redemption. Even when we describe the problems at the movie's core, it seems to be almost impossible to properly convey how truly incompetent the production is in its execution of these problems. The film just seems to fall apart on every conceivable level.
I don't have anything to add. You pretty much cut straight to the heart of the matter. It's like you took every conceivable complaint you could have about a film and amplified those complaints before shoving them together into one huge waste of time and energy.
It's also difficult to talk about characters because I'm not going to say this kind of stupid doesn't exist out there, but I find it difficult that you could gather this many morons of this particular caliber together via random happenstance.
Yeah, this is the group of people who arrive at a concert site that is in ruins, and what's their first impulse? Have sex in a tent. Darwin's head exploded at that point.
I know, dumb!
And don't forget that this concert that they're attending is hosted by Sega on a remote island outside of cell phone reception and without any gaming systems.
E3 used to be really low-key. Seriously though, had Nintendo already booked the island of Dr. Moreau?
And those flashbacks with the villain were completely ridiculous.
Talk about attention to detail. Hell, you could put on a tri-corner hat and you'd automatically look more authentically in period than these assholes.
There is no God. There is only me.
And I'm Javert.
I couldn't figure out what the actual purpose of those scenes was.
Oh, good lord, folks. Just so you know, I've beaten the original House of the Dead in the arcade. It was a fun game. This movie, not fun. It was stupid, dull, annoying, uninteresting, idiotic, unengaging. I don't have enough adjectives. Plus, every attempt Bowl has made to milk this for more money has only enraged me more. There really isn't anything I can say that offers this film even one iota of redemption. It is the shitstorm being flung at my face. I hope never to see this film again. My God, folks. This is a first. This is a raging torrent of dick. 1 out of 10.
I don't know what to say. I have a decent tolerance for bad movies, and I can find enjoyment in most bad films. This one has bypassed enjoyment, and it's even bypassed anger. This movie just depresses me. There isn't any good in this film, or the world. There is no reason for me to ever watch this film ever again. Ever, ever, ever. Goodbye, my friends. Raging torrent of dick. 1 out of 10.
No, Grandpa Borgnine, leave light and hope for me, please.
Get out from behind that cushion, Billy. It gets worse.
I've actually seen this movie a couple of times. On no occasion has it ever actually been a good idea to watch it. But what can I say? Cheap vodka has a habit of making those bad decisions for you. I'll admit that Blood and Rain arguably made me angrier by putting actors with decent or good careers into a film that was complete and utter shit. Here, I was somewhat less offended by the poor use of the cast, seeing as I have no idea who the fuck these people are. That being said, this is terrible. This is the kind of film where you can feel your brain shutting down as a defense mechanism. Or because of cheap vodka. This is really bad. This is a why have you forsaken me. That's a 2 out of 10, ladies and gents.
This is one of those rare painful movies that actively sucks the passion out of you. It can make you depressed. It's actually difficult to be angry with it because all it makes you want to do is go to sleep and never wake up again. I stand by the fact that I hated Blood Rain more, but that was because A, Blood Rain actually had elements that had the potential to be good and thus infected me with hope. And B, like Birdie said, this movie just bypasses hate. It's just genitals and a mousetrap levels of painful. If I had recognized Proshnow as Captain Kirk, I might have been able to gather some rage, but instead all I end up with is depression. Words escape me. Any form of description that I can offer just pales in comparison to the film itself. You can call it Gilligan's Island with zombies all you want, but it doesn't capture the pain that comes with actually watching it. I've had a lot of time to consider my rating, but even now I feel unsure. Raging torrent of dick. This is my first 1 out of 10 rating.
Well, with 1 Why Have You Forsaken Me and 3 raging torrents of dick, the MediaWhorz consensus is raging torrent of dick. So join us next time, as God is apparently planning on forsaking us all. Honestly, I might say you're right about Resident Evil. It is like crawling through miles and miles of shit.